We'll give everybody a chance to fill their tummies with a little something as you guys meet everyone who's next to you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the program will begin. NABJ, join me in welcoming to the stage our president, Aaron Haynes.
Are we enjoying lunch? Listen, for us. Well, listen, good afternoon, NABJ. Sitting where some of our award winners are sitting tonight. 26th annual is a chance for us to really celebrate some of the best and brightest in our organization. It is such a joy to be gathering here for one of us what's possible when Black journalists are given the opportunity to lead and to innovate and to tell the truth. We get to honor people who sometimes make a way when there was no way. Yes, Sidmel, Jackie, Ernie, Jackie, Jane, and Deborah. These are journalists and leaders whose work has really shaped news. I just want to take a moment of personal privilege to talk about one of the honorees who was so meaningful to me, and that is Sidmel Estes. Organization continues to be an example for her today. Brent, Georgia, Dr. Bland, Brandy, Beatrice, Karen, Tamia. All of you represent community service, emerging talent to be here at the 10th anniversary of an award that I helped to create, and that is the Emerging Journalist Award. We have representatives from Michael Feeney's family here, as we have this award that is named in his honor. Looking out at all of you right now, what I love so much about this gathering is that it reminds us who broke barriers, they knew, telling the truth, even the legacy that we are all responsible for carrying forward. So I want to say thank you again to all of our honorees. I want to say thank you so much for what you all have given to journalism, to our communities, and most of all, what you continue to give to NABJ. Thank you so much.
Mara Porter and Ryan Young.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron, and welcome back, NABJ. Feel free to take pictures throughout the event, and please share it on social media using the hashtag.
2007, I had the honor of being a recipient. Thank you. Since then, the award has been.
Yeah, this year marks 10 years since the award was named for Michael J. Feeney. Michael's loved. His family was so importantly loved journalism. So many people here knew him and loved him so much.
To commemorate the 10th year of his passing, today's award will be presented by Michael's family.
Yeah. Let's take a look at how Tamika Folks is carrying on the examples of lifting Black voices.
Hi everybody, my name is Tamia Folks and I'm here to talk to students about how I've wanted to be a journalist since I was very young. Let's go check it out! I really, foremost, I want to help people and I want to shed light on is the power of journalism.
She's one of those people that pops pretty much from the first time you meet her. She was a committed student, she was a committed storyteller, and she was deeply interested in ethics issues.
We hired Tamia to join a new team of quick strike investigators who really focus on community-driven, tip-driven investigations, and she's done an awesome job of that.
Our goal is always to seek accountability when wrongdoing occurs. I'm just trying to be responsive to community members who might be facing one of the more challenging situations of their life and are just looking for help.
She can do really detailed, meticulous investigations, daily stories that require her to be super urgent. And she can also translate all of these things to social media.
It's election day in Wisconsin, and I want to give you a little update.
She's using these tools in new ways to help people and to have an impact within her community.
And send us a tip at watchdog@journalsentinel.com.
I'm basically just trying to hold on to Tamia for as long as I can, kill it at whatever she.
Tamia Folks.
Presenting the 2026 Michael J. Feeney Emerging Journalist Award on behalf of his.
Hello everyone. See if our mic is on. Okay. Michael's family for continuing to honor his legacy and to inspire the next generation of young reporters. It's such an honor to be here. I was 13 years old when I walked up onto a stage that didn't look like this at all. It was very small at my 8th grade graduation. And I told a room full of adoring parents and my onlooking teachers that when I grew up, I wanted to be a journalist. And my mom planted that idea in my head. I don't think I could have ever even imagined what it would have mean. But I lavished in mornings spent watching the news. The classes I thrived most in were English and history. I spent the bulk of my skills that I use today. But most of all, I think I dreamed that in some capacity I could live a life that would allow me to serve my community and tell the stories of my peers, my friends, my family, my city, and my country in its most authentic light. It's been 13 years since I gave that speech, half of my lifetime. And the dream has been realized in the most fulfilling and incredible and beautiful way. From that moment, I've taken on internships, cheering and yelling for things that they believe should be happening in this country. I've been backstage with my favorite musical artists and at the kitchen tables of families that place their greatest struggles and trauma in my hands and allow me to tell their stories. With each year, I've grown more curious, more eager, more passionate about pouring care, information, and thoughtful understanding back into the communities that I serve, and I'm so excited to know that this is just the beginning. I don't take lightly that NABJ is giving me this award. I was student representative when I was a student in college, and when I was a freshman, I joined this organization, absolutely unsure how I would build a life in journalism. But I joined the board of directors when I was in school as student representative, and I met so many incredible and inspiring Black journalists who have served to be a dogged and relentless reporter and how to continue University of Wisconsin-Madison and Columbia University, who have taught me so much along the way. My internship and program directors, my editor, Daphne Chen at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, and to my family for always believing and investing in my future, my education, and this beautiful life that I've gotten to build for myself here. So I'm so grateful.
Hopefully you guys are enjoying your food. But like the great philosopher from Houston once said,
All the ladies who are independent Throw your hands up. But nobody can help
Nobody
me finish
knows the
it?
words?
Come on,
Come on.
NABJ.
Wait, back there in the back.
Okay, let's
Yes.
try again, please.
One more time,
Where are my
please.
Destiny's Child
Please.
fans?
One time.
All the women independent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow. Let's take a moment to recognize all the independent black journalists in the room. Come on, y'all. I know Roland Martin's in here somewhere.
Where are our
Sasha Parker,
independent
come on.
journalists?
Independent
Stand up.
journalists?
Please stand up.
Come on,
We
independent
want to
journalists,
show you love. We want to give you your
Please.
flowers right now. Being an independent journalist means came to her home in the middle of the night. This honoree.
A different reason. Let's take a look at why Georgia Fort is this year's Ida B. Wells recipient.
Fort. I've been working in media for almost 20 years. Being a journalist really gave me a pathway into purpose.
Making sure that she gets it right.
When I went independent back in 2020, based out of Minneapolis, there was a tremendous need. I acquired a radio station.
Doing this wrong.
During Operation Metro Surge, I documented the aftermath of 2 American citizens being fatally led to my arrest. Is indicative of the attack that all journalists are currently facing for simply
People in these issues. She inspires me every day to make sure I'm getting it right.
Journalism is a public service, and I am proud to be a public servant. To connect my body of work in a way that's the continuum of the profound legacy of Ida B. Wells is something that I will cherish forever.
Her family has struggled.
2026 NABJ Ida B. Wells Award recipient, Georgia Fort.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to give glory to God. I want to thank you. I want to thank my family. I have an amazing husband and children and mother who support me in the very, very hard work of being an independent journalist. I also want to thank a longtime friend and mentor, Barbara Goche, who you all saw in the video. I am a journalist because of you. You took me under your wing at the beginning of my career and really taught me what it meant to serve community in this capacity. And you also have demonstrated very gracefully what it means to reach the highest levels of success and never forget where you come from. And for that, I'm truly thankful. I've worked in media for almost 20 years, and what a lot of people don't know is that being an independent journalist actually wasn't my first choice. It was the only pathway that I could take in order to move forward in my career. In 2017, working in mainstream media, I got the chief of police to go on camera for the first time and discuss how his aunt had falsely accused 3 black men of rape, which led to the triple lynchings in Duluth, Minnesota back in 1920. 2 weeks after my sweeps piece aired, I was fired. But not for the story. They said I was not eligible for maternity leave. So on paper, I had to accept that I was legally fired for being a woman having a baby. But in my heart, I always kind of believed that reviving the history of a triple lynching up in the North had a lot to do with it. So to be honored with the Ida B. Wells Award today, for me, it's less about reporting on the church protests this year. It's about the cost that so many Black journalists continue to pay for simply telling the truth. On the surface, a lot of people think Ida B. Wells just documented lynchings. But Ida B. Wells did what no white newspaper would do. She documented the hypocrisy of a criminal justice system that failed to produce any semblance of justice for innocent Black Americans who were lynched, not for a crime, but for the color of their skin. She covered lynchings at a time when white newspapers were inciting them, and that's not my opinion. Those are facts that have been documented in a research study called Printing Hate by the University of Maryland. So while I stand here today very honored to receive this award and deeply humbled, I am also deeply, deeply concerned about the state of journalism. The lack of reform in our sector, the lack of accountability, and the double standard that is so often imposed on Black journalists. In closing, I will leave you with this. When 24 agents came to my home, ferociously banged at my door, woke up my 3 daughters, I stood in my faith. No weapon formed against me will prosper. The word didn't say it wouldn't form, but God did say it wouldn't prosper. And so I stand in my faith today, and I stand on the shoulders of Ida B. Wells and so many of our other ancestors as I continue to be targeted by the federal government today for simply reporting the news. So thank you to NABJ, to Aaron, to Gabby, to the selection committee for this distinguished honor. I do believe the First Amendment will stand. And so this award is for our ancestors. We are their wildest dreams. Thank you.
A lot of faith. A lot of faith. The Black Music and Entertainment Walk of Fame is a monument dedicated to honoring the contributions of African Americans in entertainment.
Created in 2019, Quincy Jones, Stevie Wonder, and James Brown were among the first names etched in stone. And much like with this event, it serves as a reminder to honor the shoulders that we all stand on.
Yeah, today we pay homage to legendary Black journalists who have made outstanding contributions to news and media. Let's take a look at how Deborah Adams Simmons edited, mentored, and served her way into the NABJ Hall of Fame.
Deborah Adams Simmons has built a renowned career as a journalist and newsroom leader, known for rallying her team towards stellar storytelling. A graduate of Syracuse University, Simmons honed her news skills at the Syracuse Herald-Journal, the Hartford Courant, the Virginian Pilot, and the Detroit Free Press, before becoming a top editor at the Akron Beacon-Journal. In 2007, the Plain Dealer brought her to Cleveland as its managing editor, and 3 years later, she was promoted to editor. She later moved to National Geographic, where she was instrumental in bringing new and diverse writers to the magazine. Today, she continues to lead as editor-in-chief for special projects at WGBH in Boston. Simmons was a 2016 fellow of the Nieman Foundation for Journalism at Harvard University and has been a wise mentor to many next-generation editorial leaders. 2026 NABJ Hall of Fame inductee, Deborah Adams Simmons.
Good afternoon, NABJ. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is deeply gratifying and humbling to be inducted into the NABJ Hall of Fame, surrounded by the people I love and the profession I have given my life to. I give honor to God for this moment. I did not get here alone. There is a divine thread that runs through every byline, every deadline, every late night, and every tear shed in newsrooms that weren't always ready for me. It has been an incredible, nearly 40-year journey, but there were days I wanted to call it. NABJ has been the wind beneath my wings. You all reminded me that I wasn't alone, that my voice wasn't just mine, it belonged to a village. And today, I'd like to thank my village, because without you, I would not be here. To my extended family, who purchased plane tickets from Akron, Cleveland, Chicago, Syracuse, Los Angeles, New Haven, Texas, Charlotte, and Washington, D.C., as well as my colleagues at GBH in Boston, thank you for traveling to witness this moment. To Allison Bethel, Wendy Thomas, and the team of supporters who fueled my nomination, thank you. I am here because of your advocacy. To my professional partner, Susan Goldberg, who I've worked with not one, not two, not three times, thank you for your trust, your vision, and your friendship. And to my family, my heart, for making NABJ part of our lives. To my mother, thank you for your sacrifice as a young widow, pouring everything you had to give into me. To Jonathan Sr., who first came to the NABJ convention in Detroit in 1992, the golden era of Black journalism. Thank you for your understanding as I would run out the door to cover a story, to edit a story, or God forbid, to correct a story. I love you and I thank God for you. To my son, Jacob, thank you for joyfully sharing your birthday with NABJ every year. You were born in August 2000, one of the only NABJs I've missed in 40 years. I am grateful that you love NABJ as much as I do. And to my son, Jonathan Xavier, a true NABJ baby, who is now carrying the torch as a sports journalist. You are proof that the legacy doesn't end with me, it lives and breathes in you. In honor of this Hall of Fame recognition, I plan to make a series of gifts to NABJ because everything you do is to lift up Black journalists, to the Maynard Institute for Journalism Education, where I chaired the board for many years, because we must continue to train and sustain Black and brown news leaders, to the Syracuse University Newhouse School, because the next generation is sitting in classrooms right now waiting for their moment, to the Akron Community Foundation Black Giving Collective, because local communities need resources to shape their own stories, and to GBH Public Media, because last year Congress told us to go fund ourselves, and we will. Not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. Public media is a public trust, and we will not let that trust wither. And now let me speak to the moment. Our democracy is under attack by misinformation, by the erasure of truth, by those who would rather have a silent press than a free one. And if ever there was a time when our voice was needed, now is that time again. Black journalists have always understood this, from the abolitionist newspapers that named the evils of slavery, to Ida B. Wells and the Black press who covered lynchings when the mainstream looked away, to the foot soldiers of the civil rights movement who marched with cameras and notepads. We have always known the importance of advocating for truth. So I say this to my fellow journalists in this room: do not retire your voice, do not let your wisdom gather dust. Turn up the volume for young journalists who are being told that their presence is undeserved. Give them the keys and then step aside and let them lead. And to the young journalist in the room, the ones still finding their way, still fighting for their first big story, still wondering if they belong, I am handing you a torch so that you will know without a doubt that you belong at the head of the table, in the corner office, on the masthead, and in the history books. NABJ, may we never forget why we started. May we always remember that the truth is liberating, and may we have the courage to tell it even when the world would rather look away. Thank you to the NABJ, Thank you to my family, my friends, my sorors of Delta Sigma Theta, my nominators, my GBH colleagues, my fellow inductees, and every journalist in the room. The work is not done, the story is not over, the next chapter is being written, and I can't wait to see what you write.
Now that's a cheering segment.
I mean, but I think the Go Fund Yourself should be a T-shirt.
Absolutely.
I think that we should hook that up right now with NABJ on the bottom. Hey.
Aaron, can we make that happen for next year? Go Fund Yourself T-shirts? It's the merch. We need the merch. All right, our next inductee has a name that you just love to say.
What do you mean?
Well, it's science. Phone aesthetics is the study of the beauty and pleasantness associated with the sounds of certain words.
I think you've taken this like beauty innovator thing just a little too far.
No. Hear me out. It's broken down into 3 parts.
Tell me.
Euphony, pleasant sounds, cacophony, harsh sounds, and sound symbolism, which means how you link sounds to meaning.
Wait. So I get it. It's like how some people get their jobs because their names sound so good in a promo.
Exactly. So we're going to try it together. Maurice Dubois.
Maurice Dubois.
Come on. Maurice?
Come on, say it, crowd. Come on.
Dubois.
I feel like I just paid off my student loans. Just sounds rich.
See, I told you, it's therapeutic. Let's take a closer look at how Maurice Dubois made his way to the NABJ Hall of Fame.
Maurice Dubois is a television journalist whose distinguished career led him to the CBS Evening News, where he co-anchored with John Dickerson. A native New Yorker, Dubois began his career on the West Coast at King TV in Seattle. The Northwestern Medill School grad then worked his way back east with interim stops in Sacramento and Chicago before returning to New York at WNBC TV, where he filled several on-air roles for 7 years. In 2004, he joined WCBS and became a mainstay at the Channel 2 anchor desk until he moved to the CBS Evening News in 2024. A winner of 5 Emmys, Dubois has covered many big stories, from papal transitions to political candidates to natural disasters. 2026 NABJ Hall of Fame inductee, Maurice Dubois.
Check. 1, 2. Are we here? Check. There we go. Forgive me if this is a little out of body, a little surreal. Watch your career flash by you on the big screen here at NABJ, but it's good to be home. It is so good to be with you. NABJ is home for me. As a kid, I dreamed about someday becoming a Hall of Famer, except, sir, I was actually hoping it would be with the New York Knicks. Can somebody say Knicks in 5? Knicks in 5. That's right. But this will certainly do. I must tell you, this is a tremendous honor, humbling, affirming, extraordinarily special, deeply meaningful because it comes from NABJ. And shout out to all of our fellow honorees here tonight, this afternoon. You deserve it, and it's an honor to be here alongside you. This moment takes me back to NABJ in Miami, 1987, my very first one. I still remember walking into the hotel lobby, seeing all these prominent journalists whose work I admired and idolized, Kenneth Walker, Charlene Hunter Galt, the great Les Payne, who became a trusted mentor and confidant, may he rest in peace. A long roster of black excellence on full display, on and on. There they were, in person. I was awestruck. It was almost not real, but I knew I wanted to be a part of this. Thousands had shown up. First time I'd ever been around that many people who were just like me. Finally, I thought, You're usually the only journalist in the room. You're usually the only black person in the room, but I found a home at NABJ. If only the world could be like this. That Miami conference featured a day trip to Freeport in the Bahamas. Remember that one? That's right. A cruise ship just for us, folks in bathing suits and whatnot. It was just amazing. We had some time at the beach too. I figured every NABJ was going to be just like that. I figured very wrong. But I bonded with a group of up-and-comers, journalists just like me, and we'd been friends ever since. The career has taken me across the country and the world, storytelling, reporting, making a nice living, doing what I love, pretty amazing, and fighting to portray us in full in a world that still cannot get it right for all kinds of reasons, all of them unacceptable. And NABJ has been there through it all, fighting for us, fighting for what's right. And I want to recognize you for that, and I want to thank you for it too. The phone has rung several times over the years, NABJ checking in on me to make sure I'm okay in the midst of the latest industry upheaval or turmoil at the station or the network. NABJ always had my back, and I appreciate that more than I can express. Only one who supported me more is my partner in life, my wife, Andrea, who's by my side today, and always 25 years ago, we said I do to each other this month. Thank you, and I love you. She's also a big Jane Kennedy fan, and as am I, but I can't help but wonder the real reason for her being here today, so I just want to put that out there. Also, a shout out and thank you to my old WCBS family, some of whom are here today, especially Kathy McGee, the conscience of the newsroom, and Walter Smith Randolph, who's also our VP for broadcast. Shout out to both of you all. Thank you for your unwavering support and love over the years. These days, the challenges, as you know, run deeper than we'd ever imagined, and I know NABJ is up for the battle ahead. Facts matter, truth matters, real journalism matters, and it always will. Please keep on fighting. I know you will, because the people, the whole democracy, everyone is counting on you. NABJ, this is the deeply meaningful honor, and I cannot thank you enough.
Ryan, did I hear that correctly? Was there an NABJ cruise
I don't understand
to the Bahamas
how
during
we're going
convention?
back. I think we should have a little segment on that, because why can't we get a new boat?
I don't know if Negroes love boats. Our ancestors had a tough time with that. But a cruise to the Bahamas might sound good.
And if y'all didn't hear him up front, Roland said Negroes love boats. So here we go. Anyway, in this economy, it's safe to say that not all members of NABJ can make it to the national convention each year. That's why it's important to support our local chapters that stand in the gap. Everybody give a clap for the local chapters.
Our local chapters are so important. Tonight, I'm hosting the Atlanta Association of Black Journalists reception. Please stop by if you can, and happy 50 years to AABJ.
Let's come on, 50. Let's go. Come on. You're doing it, and I'm in Atlanta.
Well, we didn't want you to have to work when you were in your hometown. You can come as a guest.
I love it. Our next inductee is a founding member of the Kansas City Association of Black Journalists. He's no stranger to the Hall of Fame. I love it already in the back. In 2016, he was part of this very luncheon as the Angelo B. Henderson Community Service Award recipient. Let's take a look at how Louis Dogood served his way into the NABJ Hall of Fame.
Louis W. Dogood is Missouri through and through. Raised in St. Louis and educated at the University of Missouri School of Journalism, he was a fixture at the Kansas City Star for nearly 4 decades. He wrote award-winning columns for 30 years, served on the editorial board for 17, and rose to become Vice President of Community Resources, responsible for the Star's outreach and philanthropic efforts. In addition, he's authored 4 books, been a champion of newsroom diversity, mentored countless young journalists, and advocated for multicultural education. His service has earned him many awards. including from Harvard University, which honored him in 2017 with the Lewis M. Lyons Award for Conscience and Integrity in Journalism. 2026 NABJ Hall of Fame inductee.
Well, brevity is a gift. I'm going to give it to you. And my brother in the struggle, Glenn Rice, for nominating me for this award. I want to thank Cynthia Bryant and her seeing-eye dog, Sandy, for coming here with me today. And I want to thank my family for sticking with me all throughout the journalism career that I beautiful people. Now that, because I think it's so very important for us to understand that we work in an industry that is going through radical changes. And those changes have been going on the entire time that I've been in this profession. Number one, the paper that I started with doesn't exist anymore. Number two, a lot of the companies that own the papers that I've worked for have moved on. And the only thing that has been consistent is NABJ. Support our local chapters. We need to support NABJ because after all of these folks supported. Thank you.
Yeah, the time's up. Me Too and the movement for Black Lives Matter. Our next award recognizes a media professional who's quietly curating cultural shifts, one movement at a time.
Named for the legendary co-founder of the National Black Public Relations Society, Pat Tobin, this year's recipient is blazing a trail of her own.
And narrative strategist. As the senior strategist and managing partner of Black Alder LLC and co-executive director of Black Alder Labs, her work sits at the intersection of media and social justice.
Through Black Alder Labs, she released The Cost of the Story of especially Black and Brown journalists are frequently exposed to traumatic events with little to no institutional support.
Yeah, her leadership in supporting journalists of color at the moment will be felt for years to come. Please welcome the 2026 Pat Tobin Media Professional of the Year, Chelsea. Oh, I get it wrong. Sorry, Tobin. Sorry. Thank you for checking me on that. Chelsea Fuller, as she receives her award. Thank you. Thank you for the catch on that one over there. You know the rivalry of local news.
Fox 5, 11 Alive, and WSB. That's who you had to beat. But if you ask Neil,
history.
Our next inductee wasn't just an icon amongst NABJ fam, she was a giant amongst journalists. Here's a look at Sid Melke Estes' road to NABJ Hall of Fame.
Atlanta native Sid Melke Estes was a media consultant, television executive. She worked in her hometown for 27 years at WAGA TV 5, where she co-created and executive produced the morning news show Good Day Atlanta. She was a no-nonsense, hard-driving journalist who raised the bar for morning news well beyond Atlanta. Under her leadership, the show became #1 in its market, earning 7 Emmys. Estes was also passionate about mentoring young journalists and advocating for newsroom diversity. And she carried that devotion with her to the highest ranks of NABJ, becoming the organization's first woman president in 1991. With her at the helm, NABJ increased its membership to over 2,000 journalists. In 1994, she was instrumental in creating the Unity Conference. Sadly, Sidmel Estes left us too soon, passing away at age 60 in 2015. She was a beacon of professional to her legacy. 2026 NABJ Hall of Fame inductee, Sidmel K. Estes.
Hello, everyone. I know many of you probably looking at we're honored to be here to accept this award on her behalf. And of course, if she was up here, I know she would say again, as they said earlier, it's been a long time coming. Again, it's just spectacular. And I know she want to have it no other way but having it here in Atlanta, where she's left a lasting impact on many of y'all, each and every one of us. And I know she would definitely have a message, just as many of you have had, for all journalists here. And she would basically say, continue to push the envelope. It's okay to rock the boat sometimes. Stand out. There's still always opportunities out there, and to take advantage of those opportunities. And just congratulations again to you, Mama. We miss you, and we love you. And I'm going to let my brother take it over from here.
Good afternoon. As my brother, we were texting at the table. First off, I want to say respectfully thank you to everybody that has pushed to get her to get inducted. From Ms. Condis, who originally gave me the phone call she grew up from, and has basically had her career. And of course, in the words of her, it's about damn time. But it was also funny to where my wife and I was having this conversation on the car ride here. She was talking about how this world. And the reason why, because when we got married, my mom had an interview that she had done years way before I had even met my wife. And somehow my wife found it. Don't know how, but towards the end of that interview, the interview said a woman of truth, a woman that loves her profession, and a woman that just stayed with her kids. And everybody in this room, 95% of the people in this room know that that's what she stood on. So thank you all for just giving her the privilege to get her flowers, regardless if it's been past due, but thank you all for just inducting her, and thank you all for allowing it to be in her hometown and allowing us to represent her. Thank you.
And before we move on, especially as someone who worked at a very special juggernaut when it came to getting news done here. So I'm glad to see that as well. Before we introduce our next honoree, we got to, you know what? Hold on one second.
You guys have
y'all
to
guys
be in it.
Can y'all stand up at least? Here we go. We're going to do a little. Hold on. Yep, there we go. Look, part of the reason why we do that is because we know These phones are everywhere. So before I post it, let's make sure to tag NABJ 2026 like we talked about before. But I'm trying to get you in this because I need some of those beauty influencer likes that you get.
Okay, so we can do like a shape up video, like a men's grooming.
That'd be awesome.
All of it. Yeah, I think use a little sponge brush. I feel like we can kind of teach them all the tricks.
Yes,
all right.
yes.
But taking that selfie is actually the perfect segue to introduce our next honoree, because without his work, the selfie and how I personally create my content and how a lot of people work today may never have happened.
Well, seriously speaking, we're trying to have a little fun there, but Jackie Green has been breaking barriers before we even knew what going digital even meant. He revolutionized newspapers by introducing color photography, digital imaging, and even helped companies like Sony and Kodak invent technology that changed the industry forever.
And as someone who makes a living now creating content, I would like to personally thank him. Maybe I should even cut him a check.
Maybe. Maybe. He didn't just introduce digital technology to the world. He spent decades building people through NABJ Unity.
I mean, honestly, we're all just trying to manage our calendars as well as Jackie has.
Yeah. Today, we're honored to celebrate a true innovator, mentor, and trailblazer. Let's take a closer look at the legacy of Jackie Green.
Fascinated by photography from an early age, Florida native Jackie Green turned his passion into a profession. He got his start in the early 1970s at the St. Petersburg Times, where he was the first photographer on the scene of the Skyway Bridge collapse. A decade later, his craft took him to the fledgling USA. He was also instrumental in USA Today's ongoing digital transformation until his retirement in 2016. Within the NABJ family, Green is best known as a selfless organizational leader. He served on the board of directors and was NABJ's representative to Unity, becoming that board's first critical period in our history. His dedication and oversight helped the association gain financial strength and further the overall mission. The impact of his leadership has reverberated through NABJ for decades and continues to this day.
The cheering has almost got me choked up here. Yeah, I'll be there, don't worry. Gotcha. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, good afternoon to all of you out there, and I hope you can hear me now, because I hope to be loud enough to make a difference here. I'm deeply honored and to be a part of the NABJ Hall of Fame in the class of 2026. Thank you to NABJ Board of Directors, Rodney Brooks, Vanessa Williams, and all those who supported my nomination. I am greatly thankful for you. There are just too many names to call you all out, but please know that you're part of my inner circle, and I really love and support you. I'd like to say a special thank you to my family and extended family who traveled, particularly my son, my daughter, and my lovely wife, Cynthia Robbins, whose unwavering support has meant so much to me over the years. To be recognized by my peers and to be part of the NABJ Hall of Fame is an incredible honor. It's the greatest honor of my life, actually. I'm extremely blessed. Ever since I was in 8th grade, I always wanted to work for a newspaper. I submitted images to my paper in a small newspaper in North Florida, and who could have imagined from that I would be the co-founder of USA Today, despite a newspaper that became a disruption for the newspaper industry. That journey taught me several things. First, the power of persistence, pressing on, and remaining resilient. My small hometown newspaper said no when I first tried to submit images in 8th grade. Years later, they began to take my small photos and my newspaper stories about the Black community. Fast forward, when I was a senior in high school, but because there were only 2 applications allowed there, and they said, no one in your family had ever gone to college, and that we don't think you're college material. So they didn't take my application. They didn't even read my essay. They handed it back to me. But I worked my way through the junior community college system, eventually to the university here. That pathway led me to the St. Petersburg Times, and then shortly later to the Boston Globe. And while there, I was recruited to join the founding team of USA Today, all before I was 30 years old. I had the privilege of helping set the tone for a newspaper that changed the industry. On the eve of USA's debut, a great effort from our team, we secured exclusive color photos from a fiery DC-10 plane crash in Spain with 382 people aboard. I lobbied to change the planned color image on the first day of USA Today from a graphic at the plane crash, color photos and all. That inaugural headline, so on September 15, 1982, captured the gravity of the moment. Miracle, 327 survive, 55 die. Because I was in the room, elbow to elbow, with editors and the publisher, that inaugural edition locked in the role of the industry disruptor. Color photos from the front page of a daily printed nationally. Now it's the norm, but then it was its own miracle. In closing, I want to take a few moments to talk about the importance of the National Association of Black Journalists. You know, think of NABJ as insurance. You may not really understand the value of it until the moment you need it. When journalists face job losses from layoffs, business closures, doors closed without explanation, NABJ provides community, inspiration, and support. It's a place that says, yes, you can, even when others say, no, you can't. We're at a pivotal time in the news business. Job cuts, mergers, attacks on journalists, false narratives, rapid growth of AI. So when someone asks you why NABJ, why representation matters, remember this. NABJ is where we learn to produce fair, balanced, and accurate news coverage of all communities. I challenge each of you to get involved. Run for office, become a mentor, be a mentee. Protect this organization and carry this work forward. And remember, not one step back. Thank you.
You know, people throw the term legend around a lot, but our next honoree earned every bit of that word.
Yeah, absolutely. His remarkable career spans more than 4 decades, from a black newspaper in Cleveland to some of the biggest newsrooms in America.
He stood on the National Mall for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, served in the Army, broke major business stories at the New York Times, and even has a memoir out called Let Me Tell It.
Well, let me tell you, while those accomplishments are incredible, his greatest legacy may be the countless black journalists he encouraged, mentored, and inspired along the way. That's the kind of impact you can't measure by a byline.
Here's a closer look at the journalist, mentor, and true pioneer whose influence is still shaping newsrooms today, Ernest Holzendorf.
Ernest Holzendorf was a pioneer who helped pave the way for black business journalists. During the 1960s and 70s, when there were few black reporters on the business beat, Holzendorf covered major business stories for Fortune magazine and then the New York Times. In 1983, he returned to his hometown of Cleveland to take over the business desk at the Plain Dealer, becoming one of the first black business editors of a major metropolitan newspaper. He wrapped up his groundbreaking career in Atlanta, spending 25 years at the Journal-Constitution, primarily as a business columnist and editorial writer. For nearly 40 years, Holzendorf distinguished himself with rigorous reporting. His footsteps. 2026 NABJ Hall of Fame inductee, Ernest Holzendorf.
I retired from journalism 20 years ago. But I started off in a way that's unique. I've heard nobody else mention this kind of background. I got my journalism training in high school. And we published a weekly newspaper in high school, and I was the editor. When it was time to go off to college, I told my editor and boss, Ralph Lowe, that I was going to Columbia, and he says, "And you need not go there to the journalism school. You already knew how to write." And sure enough, when I went off to Columbia, I got some very good training and graduated second in the school, and specialized in business writing. I haven't heard anybody say that yet either. I specialized in business writing. I loved business because I loved explaining things. I loved explanatory stories. And when I arrived at my first newspaper, where I was the jumper. Does anybody know what a jumper is? I don't think so. The jumper is the kid who would ride around town once a week in a truck delivering the black newspaper to drugstores. I was the one who jumped off with a bag of newspapers to deliver at every store. My first job was working doing a business stories at the Call Post. But immediately after a year, I went off to the Plain Dealer, the city's main newspaper, which angered my boss. You know how bosses are. He says, "Why would you leave the Call Post to go to the Plain Dealer?" And I said, "They pay more." He didn't take the bait. He didn't offer a raise, so off I went. But anyway, I enjoyed that for several years, and then left town to go to a paper that I don't think no longer exists. The Washington Evening Star. Yeah. At the Star, I learned to love business reporting. I wrote business stories explaining at the heart some of the problems in business communities. Part of it, of course, was lack of businesses that produced jobs and profits, a community that helped to train kids and so on. But I love that. And I became so good at business reporting that I got a call from Fortune magazine, where I became the first black business writer at Fortune, which of course is the great star publication in the business area that had gone on for many years. And while And while there, no more than a year, I got a call from the New York Times saying, come there. They like what I do. And I became the first black business reporter in New York Times history. And that's, of course, is a history that goes back 150 years. 150 years. Never a black business writer. And I got there at just the right time. In 1980, thereabouts, two major stories broke. You'll be aware of them. One of them helped in 1978. The Airline Deregulation Act was passed by Congress. Before that time, airlines were all regulated by the government. Back in those days, if you wanted to go to LA, you just picked up the phone in the morning, and it said, okay. And then they'd give me the airline that flew. And then, believe it or not, the next story that I wrote about was about telephones. It was at the time that AT&T was the phone company. You may have forgotten that. But before then, I covered the story that resulted in AT&T being broken up in favor of so many phone companies. Every state had a phone system. Southern Bell was an outgrowth of that deregulation. I loved explaining stories, explanatory stories, and that breakup of the phone company, resulting in nearly every state having its own phone company, to be a part of that. And then finally, I concluded my career as an editorial writer, where I got a chance to try to explain all kinds of things that went on in the community. Thank you, and God bless you in your work.
I don't think ChatGPT could beat picking up the phone and asking, I want a flight for LA at 10, and it just books at that point. I mean, we truly do have history in the room sometimes. And when you think about how far we've come, it's amazing. So please, once again, let's give a round of applause for all our honorees so far. They say journalism is about asking the tough questions. Well, our next honoree understood the assignment and then added a few follow-up questions for good measure. That part put Christina Correga, a reporter who doesn't just find the story, She finds the people at the heart of the issue with justice, criminal justice. Losing my breath. So she's covered major trials, wrongful convictions, and systematic failures. But her biggest impact might be the work that doesn't always make the front page, mentoring young journalists, uplifting communities, and creating opportunities for the next generation. I'm sorry, I'm lost. We've had a lot of moving parts. So you know someone's had an incredible career when their resume needs its own table of contents. Well, when it comes to the accomplishments of our next inductee, get ready to turn those pages. Today, she's helping create the next generation of storytellers. Jackie Jones made it to the NABJ Hall of Fame.
Jacqueline Jackie Jones is Dean of the School of Global Journalism and Communication at Morgan State University in Baltimore. Since 2012, Jones has been instrumental in elevating the university as a top destination for aspiring journalists and communicators, particularly in the development of the university's digital newsroom. Her role as an educator has been informed by a wealth of reporting experience, having worked in various capacities at some of the nation's leading news organizations. While at New York Newsday, Jones served as NABJ's representative to the Accrediting Council on Education for Journalism and Mass Communication. Her work made a huge difference in expanding opportunities for Black journalism students and faculty throughout the higher ed landscape. 2026 NABJ Hall of Fame inductee, Jacqueline Jackie Jones.
Thank you. This has been an incredible moment in my journalism journey. The second full-time job I held after college was here in Atlanta in 1977, working as a writer on the broadcast desk for UPI in the Muzak building on William Street. Now, nearly 50 years later, I stand before you as a veteran journalist and Dean of the School of Global Journalism and Communication at Morgan State University, home of the NABJ 2026 Student Chapter of the Year. Thank you very much. A lot of water is under the bridge, and yet I still feel the thrill and importance of journalism as I did when I was a young, wet behind the ears reporter. As I grew as a journalist, so did NABJ. My first visit back to Atlanta after UPI was the 1984 convention. People came to hear the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who was billed as the keynote speaker. But the real news was being the lead story on the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite when Mayor Andrew Young used a few choice words to call out Democratic presidential candidate Walter Mondale's campaign for its lack of inclusion. I was proud to be an NABJ member. We were now an entity to be taken seriously. And over the years, NABJ has and continues to press for equity and inclusion in the newsroom ranks and in the coverage of issues important to our community, and to resist attempts to erase our history and rescind the gains of the civil rights movement. I impress upon my students the importance of journalism that is accurate, fair, thorough, and provides not just the news of the day, but the context in which events should be weighed. Our young school has already graduated Pulitzer and News Emmy winners who are in the industry spanning legacy newsrooms to startups. And journalism has become our family business. With me today are my cousin Leon Stafford, who recently retired from the AJC, my son Tony, a senior sports writer at The Athletic, and my granddaughter Kelsey, a senior in the multimedia journalism program at Morgan State. Thank you to those who nominated me for this honor, the ongoing support of NABJ co-founder, former president, and inaugural dean of the School of Global Journalism, Dwayne Wickham. And that's right, give him. And all of you with whom I've worked over the years on the NABJ board, in newsrooms, and academia. I vow to continue doing my best to honor your trust in me. Thank you.
Sorry, I had to get in like full glam mode for our next honoree because she deserves nothing less.
I don't know if you noticed, there might be a little something different about you.
Just a little something, something. All right, so speaking of glam, what do you call a woman who's been on the cover of Ebony magazine, crowned Miss Ohio, is known as a sports broadcasting trailblazer, and has also been inducted into the Smithsonian Museum of African American History?
I mean, I think you have to call it an it girl.
An it girl for sure. She is definitely that girl, but we call her an icon named Jane Kennedy.
Yeah, some people walk into a room and make an impression. When Jane walked in, she made history. But before those accolades, she was already a star.
She was a dancer and a singer on The Dean Martin Show and was even on Sanford and Son.
Elizabeth.
Can we do the song? Who knows the song? We had it yesterday.
Y'all got some.
Y'all sing it.
Dun, 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 dun. Y'all of age. Don't even try it. Okay. There we go. All right. You good?
I'm good.
All right. Just a little out of breath, and of course, I already ran out of breath while you were backstage, actually. But when you run down her resume, is there anything that she can't?
Apparently not. Because in 1978, Jane broke another barrier as the first African-American woman national sports anchor on CBS's The NFL Today, proving she could command the spotlight and the sidelines.
Yeah, I knew my dad loved sports, but I think he also liked watching her. But anyway, it's a whole different story. With that said, there's here more on the absolute powerhouse and the original it girl, Jane Kennedy.
Since being crowned Miss Ohio in 1970, Jane Kennedy has built a groundbreaking career spanning multiple industries. As an actress and sportscaster, writer and producer, philanthropist, and fitness entrepreneur, she broke barriers, inspired millions of women, and became a cultural icon.
When the Dallas Cowboys arrived in New York late yesterday, CBS...
She's perhaps best known for her work as the first Black female host on CBS's The NFL Today in the late 1970s. She's also appeared in numerous films, television shows, and commercials. And she's used her platform to support many charitable causes. Her recent book, Plain Jane, is an inspiring story of her journey honing her craft and weathering storms, while balancing family with a multifaceted career. 2026 NABJ Hall of Fame inductee, Jane Kennedy.
Well, I know my day is made being brought up here by Roland. I truly admire his work, and I've been begging him to put me on his show so we can talk about my brand new memoir, Playing Jane. So I'm waiting for you now that I've blasted you out. Well, I don't even know where to start because, you know, everybody's come up here and talked about since they were fourth grade and they wanted to be a journalist, and that was never in my mind. I grew up with all kinds of dreams. My mom said that I used to prance around in the yard. I'm out of breath. I'm so excited just coming up on stage, but thank you for having me so much. But my mom and my grandmother used to say that I used to dance around the yard in my little shorts that had palm trees on them and cat eye glasses with rhinestones, and saying that I was going to go to Hollywood and be a movie star. And my sister would get mad and say, Jane, shut up. You're never going to do that. And my grandma said, you let Fancy Prancy prance around if she wants to. But, you know, I didn't know that that's what I wanted to do. It was just something, you know. And I went through school being a part of everything that I possibly could get into. I just had huge dreams all the time. And I would sit in my bedroom and wonder, where would the world take me? I'd never, ever thought that it would be to the desk of the NFL today. I've done so many things in my life. I've loved sports all my life. I was pre-Title IX, so I could not compete. But my dad would take us to all of his baseball and softball games, and I was his biggest cheerleader. I love football. I love Jim Brown, the Cleveland Browns. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, right on Cleveland. Yeah, and I was at the Cleveland Convention last year. So, pardon me? Best location in the nation, maybe, but California. I think California got me on that. But anyway, you know, it was just that I never considered myself a journalist. But when I took the desk of the NFL Today, which was extremely hard to get, they said they didn't want a black woman. They were only auditioning other people, but not black women. And my agent submitted me 3 times, and I kept getting, he submitted a list 3 times. 3 times his list kept getting it rejected. He never put me on the list. So I called Jim Brown, and Jim Brown said, I can get you to the field producer, Bob Stenner. So he did. He sent me to another guy who was managing Bruce Jenner at the time, Caitlyn Jenner. And he said, the Lady in Talent is coming here next week. I can get you a meeting and see if she can bring you into New York for the show, for the audition. And she did. She said, I love you. She brought me in, and I walked into the room, and there were supposed to be 2,000 women that had been interviewed for this position. They brought 15 to New York. They brought 16 to New York. 15 were blonde. So that immediately told me, absolutely, they're not looking for someone like you. So I just remembered what a friend of mine had said, Jane, you're intimidating. And you have to let them know that you're their friend. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to talk about sports. You don't have to try to pretend that you know anything. They want to see your personality on camera. And I sat there with this guy who was, I didn't know who he was, but I just knew that he was an NFL player. And I asked him before, I said, do you play backgammon? That was back in the day when backgammon was a thing. And he said, yeah. So we sat and played backgammon. By the time we got on camera, we were old friends, laughing and talking and having a good time. And Brent stood up, walked off the set, and he said, it's Jane or nobody. So I ended up on the show only with a 6-week contract because they said that they still weren't sure. They still weren't sure. So 2 weeks in, I overhear the people on Sports Spectacular, which is not my show, and they're talking about how are we ever going to be able to keep our jobs if we don't get this post-fight interview with Muhammad Ali? He's fighting Leon Spinks in New Orleans, and we're the only people that don't have a post-fight interview. And they're yelling and they're screaming. They're saying, we're going to get fired. We're going to get fired. And they said, no, not we, and you're going to get fired. And then I put my hand up and I said, I can get you the interview. And they looked at me and said, who are you? I said, I'm the girl that can get you the interview. Put me on a private jet, send me to New Orleans. I'll have it back to you by tomorrow. I don't know why they believe me, but they put me on the jet. I called Ali. He was my friend. They didn't know that. I called Ali and I said, listen, I need to get this interview post-fight. He said, hey, I'll leave a key at the desk. He said, and I'll meet you right after the fight before I go to the regular news broadcast. I said, great. So I had my crew in the suite. And I'm sitting there praying, please, 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 Ali, walk through the door. And I just hoped that he kept his promise, and he did. He walked in the door, and he punched the lens, and he said, I'd only do this for my friend Jane Kennedy. So for me, journalism is about people. It's about the people that you know that love you, the people that respect you. Walter Payton said to all of the players in the NFL when I got the job, we are going to take care of our Jane Kennedy. And I was able to get any interview that I wanted. Johnson Publications. A guy once asked me, how do you get so much exposure on television and you don't have a TV show in the news and you're not, a big shot to have them writing in the news about you? But it was Ebony and Jet that kept me out there because John Johnson said, we're going to make sure that the United States of America knows who Jane Kennedy is. We're going to make sure that they know that there's a black woman out there doing stuff that they told her she couldn't do, that no one would believe that this opportunity would be open to someone like her. So the media was giving me so much that it was my job to give them back as much as they had given me. So in any time I can be of assistance in the media, and I was so proud when they called me and said that I had been nominated for this opportunity. I cannot even tell you how much my heart felt so full, because this is a culminating point for me. To be able to be accepted by journalists. When I started the NFL Today, the journalists hated me. They did not want a woman on that desk. And when you introduced me, you say the first black woman. I was the first of 2 women. Only 2 women have ever held that position, a white woman and a black woman. And the only reason they got rid of the black woman is because they wanted the white woman back. It wasn't because I was lacking in my job. It was because they wanted the white woman black because I was doing too good. The ratings were soaring. And I'm not just saying that from my perspective. I'm saying that because of all the interviews that I've done, of all the people that I've talked to, all the publications that I've talked to. I've had your support. And I cannot turn my back on you. I have been dedicated to doing as much as I possibly could for Black media my entire life, even though I'm not a journalist. So I thank you so much for having me here. My dad would be so proud. He's passed away 11 years ago. My mom has dementia, and so I have to go home and I have to tell her whenever I do something huge like this. When my book came out, I've recently written a memoir called Plain Jane, and it's about my entire life. The first quarter starts with growing up, second quarter going to Hollywood, third quarter raising my family, my children, and finding out what a great mom I am. And then my fourth quarter, finding out who I am. And then realizing that I didn't have that answer, so I go into fifth quarter, which is overtime. And we are in overtime now. We are in overtime now. And I am back. And I am back and I'm rebuilding my career. And how many times does a woman or man get a chance to say that they can rebuild their career when they walked away from it for 30 years? And people have come and they've welcomed me like all of you. You've welcomed me back. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am. So to be able to receive this honor today means everything in the world to me, and I hope you realize how important that is for me. I truly hope that you do. I had to be here, no matter what. I had to be here today because I wanted to see your faces. I wanted to be able to talk to you. Didn't know I was going to run into my buddy Roland, which is an extra bonus. Last year when we were in Cleveland, I bumped into him at the club and we danced a bit. So yeah. I ran into him in Los Angeles. We danced a bit, so yeah. I'm just grateful. And that's the only word that I can think of. Just totally emotionally grateful. Thank you.
What an inspiring afternoon. We've come to our final award, the NABJ Legacy Award. It recognizes a Black journalist of extraordinary accomplishment who has broken barriers and blazed trails.
Honorees have contributed to the understanding or advancement of people and issues in the African diaspora. But Ryan, I feel like I have a sneeze coming on. So before we get to her video package, I have to ask, when was the last time that you called out from work?
I can't really recall. Maybe today? I don't know.
Right. Well, I only ask that because Karen Carter Richards deserves a standing ovation. As CEO and publisher of a newspaper, she's made sure it has never missed a week of print since 1960.
Never missed.
Think about that. Some of us struggle to make it work 5 days a week without calling in, and she has printed every single week for more than 6 decades.
Yeah, she's the real MVP for sure. And from leading the National Newspaper Publishers Association to championing young people through scholarships and mentorship, Karen has made sure the Black press isn't just preserved, but thriving and evolving.
We celebrate a true architect of legacy. Here's more on this year's Legacy Award recipient, Karen Carter Richards.
Forward Times was founded in 1960 by my father and my mother, Julius Carter and Lenora Dahl Carter, here in Houston, Texas. They felt like the Black community needed a positive voice to show our achievements, a positive side of our community.
At the time, a lot of the mainstreams and daily papers weren't speaking about Black folks in ways that humanized Black people.
It was a very controversial time. Our building was bombed. 3 days later from the stress of that, my father died of a heart attack. That was really hard. My mother took over. She was 29 years old. My mother led Forward Times to its 50th year before she passed. And at that point, it was passed to me, but I was always here, shadow her for over 30 years. And I've been at the helm since 2010.
My mom, her purpose is to ensure that Forward Times not only continues on, but thrives.
It means everything to the readers that it serves. People know that if it's published in the Forward Times, that it's credible, You can basically bet on it.
We've been in business for over 66 years. We've never missed a week of print. When you talk about resilience and you talk about grit, like that's Karen Carter Richards all day long.
When she sets her mind to doing something, it's as good as gold and it's going to happen.
My mother used to say ink is in our blood. And I'm very proud to honor their legacy and what our family has done for the Black community here in Houston.
2026 NABJ Legacy Award recipient, Karen Carter Richards.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, everyone. I am deeply honored and humbled to receive the 2026 Legacy Award from the National Association of Black Journalists. For me, the word legacy is very personal. 66 years ago, my father and mother founded Forward Times with a simple but powerful mission: to give Black Houstonians voice, to tell their stories, to hold leaders accountable, and to celebrate our community. And my journey with Forward Times began long before I understood what legacy was. I was 7 years old when I started delivering the paper in my neighborhood on my bicycle going door to door. I didn't know then that those newspaper bundles I carried would eventually carry my life's work. After my father's death in 1971, my mother, who understood the power of the press and the importance of preparing the next generation, began grooming me for business at a very young age. She taught me that publishing a newspaper wasn't simply about putting words on a page. It was about service, it was about courage, and it was about making sure our community saw itself, heard itself, and knew its history mattered. Today, I am proud to stand before you as the second-generation CEO and publisher of Forward Times, carrying forward what my family started 66 years ago. But perhaps the greatest joy of this journey is knowing that the legacy doesn't end with me. My daughter, Lenora Small, represents the third generation. Seeing her step into this family business is one of my proudest accomplishments. So today, I accept this award on behalf of my father, my mother, my family, our Forward Times team, and every person who believes that Black journalism matters. This coming March 2027, the Black press will celebrate 200 years. The work continues, the story continues, and most importantly, the legacy continues. Thank you, God.
Well, congratulations to all of our honorees and Hall of Fame inductees.
Yeah, I mean, this is an amazing day. It was great to meet a lot of you, but one thing that stood out on all these that we've read about, the mentorship, the fact of reaching back to others. Someone in this room may inspire someone, and we're great to see the legacy continue, but this journalism only continues if we reach back to help others. So let's remember that as these newsrooms start to get smaller and smaller, You clicking on your fellow journalists, you following them, you subscribing could make a tremendous difference, because let's not get counted out.
Thank you all for being here. We hope you had a great lunch. We hope to see you tomorrow for the Salute to Excellence Gala. Tonight is the chapter president's party honoring all of the local work that's being done, so please try to come through to that, and have a great afternoon.